This is J. Krishnamurti's third public talk in New Delhi, 1962.
If I may, I would like to continue with what we were talking about the other day when we met here last Wednesday. We were saying that it was highly important that a new way of thinking, a new way of living is absolutely necessary in a world that has become so utterly superficial, that has problems multiplied, and that is faced constantly with enormous danger. I do not think we realize, especially in this country, how serious the issue is. We are here fairly safe. Perhaps we are very corrupt, but safe. We have our problems. Nationalism is increasing, where other countries have discarded it, where you still have leaders, where other countries deny leadership. You have still authority in position, where in other countries authority is being questioned. Where in this country you have talked a great deal of religion, and you really are not at all religious at all. You are like everybody else, superficial, interested in getting money, success, and making progress, and having amusement, like everybody else in the world, though you may mouth loudly about God and all the rest of it. So, it seems to me, a different kind of mind is absolutely essential. It is not only the urgency demands it, but also when you observe the state of the world, the superficiality, the mechanical success, the technological progress, the immense pressures that are taking place, all these, when one observes closely and has gone into it fairly deeply, one must see that a new quality of the mind is necessary, is essential. And that quality cannot be brought about by or through any technological progress. I think we must see this very clearly. And if I may, I would like to talk a little bit more about what we were saying last Wednesday. You see, we are the result of the past, of all the yesterdays that lie behind us. You are the result of your environment, the society in which you have been brought up, the propaganda which is called religion has been instilled into you for centuries. And you can glibly talk about religious ideas, And the Western impact on the Oriental mind, on your mind, is still very superficial. Seeing all this, one must, if one is at all serious, demand and ask oneself where all this is leading to. What is it all about? When you put that question, earnest there, either you return to your conditioning and reply that everything will be all right, that's only a periodic change which man goes through turmoil, and everything will come out right because there is God, there is justice, there is beauty, there is love. Those are all words. They have not much meaning. The hungry man is not fed by words. He wants food. And when you put that question very seriously to yourself, you will see, as we pointed out last week, that you are the result of the past. Actually the result. There is nothing new. Any attempt at the new is really a reaction of the old, is a projection of some part of the old. The old being the religions in which you have been brought up, the culture, the family influence, the tradition, and all the rest of it. And so there is really nothing new. And yet, circumstances, life, the present crisis, the confusion, the misery, the sorrow, the immense dearth, demands that a new mind shall come into being. Not a new set of ideas, not new ideations, new ideals, but totally different approach to life. And this approach is not matter of time. That is, there must be a mutation. There must be an immediate change. Change in the species of the mind. Change, a mutation that will bring about a different kind of action, different values. And how is this mutation to take place? That's what we were trying to talk about last Wednesday. And I would like to go on with it. We were saying that what is important is to understand a fact. The fact that one is imitating. The fact that one seeks success. The fact that one is ambitious. To see the fact. Because in seeing the fact, in itself brings about the mutation. The very seeing of something as a fact, without opinion, without judgment, without condemning. The very seeing of that fact brings about the necessary impetus, the energy which brings mutation. Perhaps most of you do not understand the implication of this seeing, of this listening. And I would like to go into that because to me that is the only medium, the only instrument that brings a revolution, that brings a transformation in the mind. The act of seeing, the act of listening. Most of us want success. I am going to talk about this in order to help you to see the fact, not to deny it or to accept it, but just to see the fact. Most of us worship success. Success in this world, or psychologically, to become successful. And to be successful, there must be imitation. There must be copying. There must be a continuity of what has been. And if you observe yourself, that's what you want. You want a success. Not only here, but inwardly. You want to achieve a result. And this desire to achieve a result implies, does it not, that you must have a pattern to follow. And when you have a pattern to follow, no fundamental change can be brought about. So, any departure from the pattern creates fear. And in order to avoid fear, you follow the lines laid down by authority. And you pursue that authority, whether it is the Gita, whether it is the political leader, whether it's your guru, whatever it is, in order to be successful, in order not to have any trouble, in order to avoid any conflict, always bearing in mind that you want a result which will be satisfactory, which is success. Please, if I may deviate a little, if it is deviation at all, let me again say that we are not dealing with words or phrases, coining new ideas. We are really concerned in bringing about a mutation in the mind, mutation of the mind, and to bring about such a revolutionary change within yourself. You have to listen, not accept, not deny, nor compare, but just listen, which is quite a difficult thing to do. Because for most of us, whenever we listen to something, we are either justifying it, comparing it with what we know, or referring to some authority which we have established for ourselves. Therefore, when you do that, you are not actually listening. You have deviated, you have gone away. So I suggest that you listen without comparing. Just listen without judging. Because you don't know what I'm going to say. And in order to understand what the speaker has to say, you have to listen to him. But you cannot listen to what is being said if you're all the time interpreting what he says. So, the act of listening is the act of perceiving the activity of your own mind. Through the act of listening, you are learning about yourself. What prevents you from seeing? What prevents you from listening? And you will find that you are not listening. And therefore you feel you must force yourself to listen. And the compulsion to listen is also a distraction. So it is very difficult to listen, not only to the speaker, but to everything in life. To listen to your wife, to your husband, to listen to the political speech, to listen to all that is being said on the radio, if you do listen to the radio. To listen to what you read, the newspaper, to see very clearly, without any prejudice, without any judgment. And I hope that you will do this while I talk. Because that listening is an act of humility. Only the mind that is really humble can learn. But you cannot cultivate humility, because then it is vanity clothed in humility. But if you listen, not comparing, not judging, not saying he is right, he is wrong, this is right and this is true, or this is false. Because we are not trying to do any propaganda. We are not trying to force you to think in any particular direction. What we are trying to do is to see facts. And to see a fact requires enormous energy, enormous attention. And you cannot pay attention, you cannot attend if your mind is evaluating what is being said. Please do see the importance of this. Not only to what is being said now, but throughout life. To everything you hear. Then you will find, out of this seeing, out of this listening, there comes an energy which is necessary to see the fact that is constantly changing. So I will keep on repeating this. The importance of seeing, the importance of listening. You know, when there is attention, goodness flowers. When there is no attention, every other form of evil comes into being. So attention is the only virtue. And you cannot attend if you are all the time conflict within yourself. And I want to deal this evening with that conflict. Why is it that all of us have taken conflict as part of existence? Why have we accepted conflict as essential to living? If you observe your own life, you are in conflict. Not only with your neighbor, with the world, but much more psychologically, inwardly. You are in conflict. You don't know what to do. Or if you know what to do, you do it, and out of that there comes a problem. And there is a misery. There is strife. There is a struggle. All that we know is conflict. And we're always trying to avoid, escape from that conflict. This is a fact. I am not trying to tell you something which is not. Being in conflict, we escape. And the escape, the thing to which you escape becomes much more important than the conflict itself. Then the to which you escape becomes important, which is, and the thing to which you escape to may be a drink, maybe your church, your gods, sex, power, ambition. All these are escapes from the fact that you are in conflict. That's a fact. Please see that fact. See, in the sense that I'm using that word see. Don't deny it. Don't say, what am I to do with it? How shall I escape from it? But see the fact that you are in conflict. And there is this urge to escape from that conflict. And after escaping, the thing to which you have escaped to becomes all important. Your religion, your nationalism, your leader, your guru, the ideas, the saints, all escape from the central issue, which is that you are in conflict in your misery. Now, how does conflict arise? Not only the little conflicts of everyday living, but the deep inward conflicts, unconscious and conscious conflicts, unresolved. How does this conflict come into being? Again, please neither accept nor reject, but listen to find out if the speaker is telling the truth or not. To find out, not to agree. Why are are we in conflict? If you are at all aware of your own condition, you're bound to be conscious of that you are in conflict. Why? There is conflict because there is contradiction. You want to do one thing and you also want to do something else opposed to it. A contradiction. Like love and hate. Wanting to be ambitious and at the same time pretending not to be wanting to be ambitious. Wanting to be rich and at the same time trying to play the game of poverty, being poor man. A contradiction. The fact that what you are and what you should be. The fact of what is actually and the idea what should be. So we are brought up on what you should be and not face the fact. You are brought up to be non-violent and never face the fact that you are violent. Because that's what this country has been told for umpteen years. That you must be non-violent, that you must be idealistic. The ideals are far more important than what is. So, between what is and what should be, there is a gap. And the bridging between that gap brings about conflict. Please observe yourself. I am only putting into words what is the actual fact. So, contradiction arises, conflict arises when there is contradiction. And then there is effort. We live of making effort. For us, effort is very important. Everything that we do is the result of effort. That's a fact. That's what you are used to. Why should we make effort? Is it not possible to live in this world without effort? And that question can only be answered if you can understand this whole process of conflict. Not only the conflict outwardly, but conflict inwardly. Conflict between nations, between people, outwardly, and conflict within, deep within inside. And when there is conflict, there is this desire, there is this effort to conquer the conflict. So conflict arises through contradiction, and when there is contradiction with its misery, with its turmoil, with its anxiety, then there is the urge to make an effort to overcome that conflict. And in this circle we are caught. And all our concern is to escape from this fact. And therefore further effort. Further effort in the religious practices to discipline, to control, to shape, to comply, to imitate, to obey, all that follows. So our mind is never quiet, is never capable of looking at anything, listening to anything fully, completely. It is always in a turmoil. And how can such a mind that is in a turmoil understand anything? So, to understand life, which is an immense thing, life is not just merely going to the office. Life is not merely begetting children. Life is not merely sex. Life is not merely prosperity. Life is not a series of successes, fulfillments of ambitions. Life is something much more than all this. Life is also the inquiry to find out whether there is or whether there is not God, or something beyond all the words. What is love? What is death? How to face and understand despair, the sense of guilt, the enormous sorrow, anxiety that is in the heart of man. All that is life. And to understand all that, you must have a very quiet mind, not a mind that is torn, in conflict, in travail. And so what happens? Faced with all this, we turn to the past, or to some book, or to some authority. And we think we have understood all this enormous complexity by following some absurd formula of a guru, or following the Gita, or some book or other. To understand this enormity, there must be a revolution in your mind. Not an economic, social revolution only, but a mutation in the quality of the mind. And this mutation cannot be brought about through volition. Because the moment you bring in the past, you are conditioning. And therefore it's no longer mutation. So just see the fact of all this. How mechanical we have become. You see, sir, virtue has lost its meaning. Because by taking some chemicals, you become very virtuous. I do not know if you have been following all that's happening in the world. You can take a pill and become tranquil. So tranquility has lost its meaning. You can take a pill, some chemical, to become less angry, less jealous, hateful, and all the rest of it. If you are passionate, sexual, you can take some pill and quieten down. So all virtue has lost its meaning. And the computers, the mechanical brains, the extraordinary electronic machines are taking over all thinking. They can do far better than man. And automation. Running machines are also coming into being. And we are becoming, not only in India but rest of the world, very superficial because we are becoming mechanical. So, seeing this, which are facts, which are not my invention, this is what is actually taking place. Gods have no more meaning anymore. Religions have lost their significance. You are faced with immediate danger, the future which is unknown. All that you have is the past, and nothing else. The past of what you know, what you have learned, the past of the atomic bomb, the past of your tradition and all that. That's all you have, and nothing else. That's your mind and nothing else. Now, how to bring about a tremendous mutation, a radical revolution in this? That is really the issue. I hope you understand the question. Not what to do, but first we must understand the question and the significance of the question. Look, sirs, you read the Gita, you are Christians or Buddhists or Muslims or whatever you are. That makes no difference at all. It's what matters is your life. Not what Gita said. What you actually are. Not your turbans and your coats and your learned knowledge, but what you are, stripped of all this. And what you are is merely the past, something that has existed. The thing that you have known, the machinery of the past. And whatever you do from the past will condition the future, and therefore is still the past. Do please see the importance of what is being said. If you make an effort to bring about a mutation, and that mutation is absolutely necessary in this world at the present time, that urge is from the past, and therefore conditions the mutation. And therefore it's no longer mutation. It's merely the continuation of the past. We are concerned with mutation, with a new mind. A mind that can see the whole of the totality of existence, not just parts of it. It's a strange thing. That at one time in this country, you were told that you mustn't be provincial. You mustn't separate yourself from the rest of the country. And now you are becoming nationalistic, still in parts. We are concerned with the whole of life, not of India, not of Hindus, Buddhists, of man. And what's going to happen to man, to the mind of man, of which you are a part. So, when you see this fact. And the seeing of that fact must make you question most fundamentally. But if you try to find an answer to that question, that answer will be from the background. So you must put the question without seeking an answer. And that's very difficult to do. Merely to put the question and inquire. So our problem is this, that a radical revolution is necessary. Within the mind, within consciousness. When that revolution takes place, it will act socially, economically, quite differently. Now, how is this revolution to be brought about? I am using the word how not to suggest a method, a system. Because if you have a method and a system, it is still of the past. But I am using the word how merely as a means of inquiry, not as a means of offering a system. How is this revolution to be brought about? First of all, to think, to live, to see very clearly anything, there must be no conflict. No conflict of any kind. And therefore, understanding the whole problem of contradiction. Which means inquiring, observing the operations of your own mind. And seeing that every form of ambition, outwardly or inwardly, brings about a contradiction. Wherever there is self-fulfillment, wherever there is the urge to fulfill, to become, to be this or not to be that, in that very desire to fulfill there is a contradiction, which is frustration. So, ambition, success, fulfillment implies frustration, and from that frustration there is conflict. These are all psychological facts. These are not my inventions. These are, if you have observed yourself carefully, these are the facts that take place. So a mind that is seeking to understand what is implied in mutation has completely ceased to have ambition. And you will say, how can such a mind live in this world? This world made up of conflict, ambition, ruthlessness, each one for himself. How can such a mind which is not ambitious live in this world? It cannot. Therefore, when you understand ambition and have denied ambition totally, then you will find you can live not in the terms of the old society. You will create a new world. You understand, sirs, what is we are talking about? A new world has to come into being. And you can't create a new world by merely saying, I must conform and live in this world. You must destroy this society to create a new world. I'm talking not the destruction of buildings, but the destruction of social values. And you don't want to do that because you're afraid. Therefore you're caught again in conflict. So you have to see very clearly for yourself that where there is ambition of any kind, there is conflict, there is sorrow. But you say, we are brought up on ambition, on competition. Every schoolboy is taught to compete. Every schoolboy is taught to worship success. And how can one deny this whole pattern? The pattern in which you have been brought up. You will deny it when you see the importance, when you are faced with the crisis. And the crisis now is that there should be a new mind. That is the crisis. Not how to reform the old pattern. So when you are aware of the crisis, when you are aware of all the implications of ambition, when you have gone into yourself very deeply to find out the source of ambition, why you are ambitious, why this competition, this travail, this ruthless search for position, prestige for oneself, when you understand this whole anatomy of ambition, then you are either with ambition, with all its ruthlessness, or you are out of it. And the man who is out of it, he brings about a new mind, a new quality of thinking. So, what we are concerned with is to find out whether it is possible or not for each one of us the importance of this deep inward revolution. Time demands it. Circumstances demand it. Your own life demands it. And the strange part of it is there is no time. You can't say, I will eventually change. Through time I will gather the energy to bring about this change. Time doesn't give you energy. Time takes away your energy. You grow old. You wither away. What gives you energy to pursue deeply is facing the fact. Just to face the fact every day, whatever that fact is. And you will see, as you face it, out of that comes energy. Not the denial of the fact. That never gives you energy. And you need tremendous energy. Because you see, there is not only all the trivialities of life which one has to face and understand, and also to go beyond them, there is also something else much more significant which demands all your attention, and that is to find out for yourself, not through words, but to find out for yourself actually if there is something beyond the measure of the mind. To actually find out for yourself if there is something called the immeasurable. Something which is beyond death, beyond words, beyond form. Unless you find that out, life becomes very shallow. Life becomes mechanical. Then life is full of sorrow and travail. And to find that out, you need immense energy. And this energy can only come when you have understood the quality of seeing, the quality of listening. When you can look at facts, look at your jealousy, look at your ambition, look at your passions, your hates, and all the absurdities that you have built around yourself, which is called religion, when you can face them and not react to them, then out of that confrontation there comes energy. And it is this quality of energy that brings about mutation. And only then the mind then becomes something extraordinary. It's no longer the thing of environment. It's no longer the thing of experience. Then it is capable of renewing itself everlastingly. Then it has the quality of youth, innocence. And it must have that quality of innocence, of complete humility, to find out that which is beyond words, beyond thought, beyond time.